it's Annie Collins for Lavinia World. Today we'll be creating a mermaid card. We'll be using the Lavinia World's Guinevere stamp. She's a little mermaid sitting on a mound of sand. And the mini Orbs stamp. I'm going to try to focus in on this because it's a fine detail stamp. Can you see those little lines? There they go. Alright, let me put this aside. Adjust my camera so you can see everything else we'll be using. Today we'll be using a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock. This is about a 4.5 by 9 piece. It will trim down. I have a bubble stencil and a variety of distress oxide inks, broken china, vintage photo, blueprint sketch, and twisted citron. And later on I'll be bringing in a little bit of fossilized amber. I will also be using some VersaFine white ink because we'll be using that for our background. This is the mermaid. I went ahead and stamped her and colored her with my Copic markers. I also have her holding one of the orbs, which then I fussy cut her out. I'll have all the markers I used in the description below. Okay, so let's get started. We're gonna sponge some ink onto here, or ink blend, onto the Bristol smooth cardstock. I'm gonna start with broken china. I'm going sideways, trying to keep the panel as straight as possible. Now I sped this up a little bit because it can be a little boring watching someone ink blend, but basically I'm just gonna blend out the colors one by one. I started with broken china, now I'm going on to twisted citron, and I will tone this down a little bit here in a little while because it's a bright green, but I wanted some green in there because the mermaid's tail is green and I wanted to bring some of that up towards the top. Again, I'm going to go over it with the broken china, trying to blend it in, and move on to blueprint sketch. This is showing like the darker part of the ocean. It's always lighter towards the top, darker towards the bottom. I'm blending that out. And I'm going over the twisted citron just a little bit with my blueprint sketch, just to help tone it down. For the bottom, I'm going to start out with vintage photo, and over the sandy part as well, add some fossilized amber in a little bit. As I put it on, it was a little darker than what I wanted it to be, or I thought it would be, I should say. So I'm going to blend it out here to make it a little smoother on my blueprint sketch. And I'm going to go back over my twisted citron with some of my broken china, pick up a little bit more, do like some more blending there. And again, blend on the bottom. And then this is when I'm like, ooh, that's too dark. Let me get something else. So for a minute there, I thought dried marigold, but it's a little more orangey than I wanted, so I went for fossilized amber. So here I am blending in the fossilized amber because I want it to be almost the same color I did with the the sand mound. No ants in the ocean that I know of. That would be creepy, wouldn't it? So I want it to be a little more lighter sand color. So I went ahead and blended that in until I got it to where I want it. So now I'm going to start creating some textures for our background. I start out with spritzing some water onto our panel, and I'll dab it up with a paper towel. As you know, oxides, they create a nice effect when you wet them. They oxidize. So here I brought it in, bringing in the stencil. This is a bubble stencil, and I'm going to also bring in the VersaFine white ink. I bought this at my local party supply store when we were able to go out. I put it in the cake decorating section. It's for decorating your cakes and cookies, but you can use whatever bubble stencil you may have in your stash, or create one by punching holes in cardstock. I'm just putting them randomly here and there just to create that background of this, you know, movement and bubbles. This mermaid will be hanging out here in a little bit in this scene. Put a little few more. Check it. I do like this stencil because there's larger, medium, and small bubbles randomly placed, so it's really nice. Now I'm gonna look at it and I'm thinking, I want to add a little more distress to it, so I'm gonna spritz it again. A little more water. It'll also help fade out some of the white bubbles. Pick it up, and yep, I like it now. Checking my mermaid for placement. See where I want it. I'm probably going to move her up a little bit more, but I am going to cut down this panel. Don't keep that in mind. Going back to my mini orbs, and I pulled out some VersaFine Onyx black ink. These little orbs are nice and detailed, so I want them to show up crisp. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp them about 5 times onto the panel, moving across the panel to create some nice movement. I want to make sure that I have her centered and I don't stamp anywhere behind her, because then you won't see the little orbs. Alright, I have those done. And I'm liking the way it's looking. So let me move her out of the way. And I want to add a little more shimmer to my card. So I'm going to bring in this Sheer Shimmer Spritz spray by Imagine Crafts. This is going to add a nice sheer shimmer to it, like its name. I already cut down my card panel and my card base. My card base is 8x8, which I scored at 4 inches. My card panel will measure 3.5 by 7 3/4. I added some adhesive to the back of my panel, and I'm going to remove our adhesive. Now I did heat set my sheer shimmer spray. Okay, that's a lot of S's in there. So I did it because if you let it sit, it will activate the oxides. So, and it'll start running and get muddy. So I went ahead and heat set it and moved my panel just minimal, because I don't want it to shimmer, to spread the ink anywhere. Alright, back to the card. Quickly, I'm going to add this panel to my card base. Now I thought of adding a nice little piece of navy cardstock on there, but then I decided to keep it a nice crisp white, just as a layering piece, but I changed my mind. So there's our card panel. We're going to add our beautiful Guinevere. I added some foam adhesive, and I'll be placing her there in the center. Got her centered there. I'm going to press her in place. And there we go. Now I have these little orbs here. They are little droplets, I should say, little orbs, the little droplets, and I have them in 2 shades of blue and 2 shades of amber. And I'm going to adhere them to our little mini orbs. So right into that little center part of the orbs. I'm going to get my adhesive and my jewel picker here. Excuse my hair for getting in the way there. And I will show you a close-up of these once I'm done. It looks so pretty. It gives a nice dimension to the card, but not so much. And it really accents those orbs beautifully. I'm going to add my adhesive to all the little spots. Now that I know they're looking great. I try my best to put the darker blue ones on the lighter sections and the lighter blue ones on the darker sections. But I just wanted a nice variety of the blues in there. now that all the orbs are done, we're going to focus our attention to the bottom. The reason why I'm putting some down here is because once I cut it out, I have this little sharp edge, you know, to the end of my stamp area. So this will kind of hide that. Now I may add some more to the sand area, just so they're not all clustered in one area. I'll do that probably later on. I haven't decided yet. But I'm just adding a few dots, and I'm going to try to alternate the colors again, just to give some, you know, movement, or so they don't all look so clustered together. And I'm making sure they touch the bottom of the sand area or stones. And then I'm adding some. I'm going to add some at the top. Same thing, covering the gaps. This card has a lot of shine and shimmer to it. It's so pretty. Now these stamps can be colored, can be stamped and colored in like I did, or you can stamp them all in one color, black or whatever color you choose, and give that silhouette look to your card. So you create your background, stamp her all in black, and you'll have a nice silhouette image. So I'm going to show you here some close-ups of all these little orbs and little droplets. So you see all that shimmer and the little orbs there. Adds nice interest to the card. Here's all that shimmer from the shimmer spray. So the card base has shimmer, the orbs do, but the mermaid doesn't. So I'm going to add some with some Sakura Jelly Roll pen and sparkle. I'm adding some highlights to her hair, her tail, fin as well. And now she has sparkle, and so does our background. Everything except for her sand mound. So again, we use the Guinevere mermaid stamp and the mini orbs stamp, which you can purchase at laviniaworld.com. We use some distress oxide, which you can also find there. Our bubble stencil to create this mermaid card. I will have all the items I used in the description box below with links, and as well as a link to the blog post I will create. Thank you so much for joining us today.